3 reasons you should never extend a conversation. Number 1, if a person is tired, do not extend that conversation. If they're tired, they're going to be irritable, and it's fitting to be some drama if you extend that conversation. You're not going to get the answer you want. Let it go and let them sleep. Number 2, the second reason you should not extend a conversation, if someone's hungry. You remember that commercial, with that old lady from the Golden Girls? She was hungry, and she turned into a completely different person because she was hungry, and they had to give her a Snickers bar so she would turn back to a regular person. When someone's hungry, their biological, their chemical imbalance is out of control, and you don't want to extend that conversation. The third reason you should never extend a conversation, someone is over-emotional. If someone is over-emotional, they're basically on a drug, and when you look in their eyes, you won't even see their soul. You don't want to extend that conversation. Bad news. Bad news. That's probably the worst. Out of all 3 scenarios, when someone is over-emotional, they are in an irrational and an unreasonable mental state. Their hormones and their endorphins are pumping through their body, and they're basically on a drug. And that's why when you look at them, you won't see their soul. You may even see the devil. I hate to say that, but you may. And so when someone is over emotional, you got to walk away from that situation. Do not extend that conversation. If you can remember those 3 scenarios where you should not extend a conversation. If someone is tired, if someone is hungry, or if someone is over emotional. If you can avoid extending conversations based on those 3 parameters, you will be able to maintain certain relationships and keep a healthy environment for productive conversation. But if you cross the boundaries of those 3 parameters and you try to extend a conversation, bad news, ain't gonna end good on average. On average, you may lose some relationships based on those parameters if you try to extend a conversation. One conversation with somebody who's tired and who's irritable and they're getting ready to have some drama involved in their remarks and their tone. One extended conversation with someone who is hungry and they feel like getting a little bit smart because, they didn't get their sugar fix. One extended conversation with someone who's over emotional and may even turn to the devil, because they're so over emotional that, they say some reckless stuff that you can never get over. It'll take you years, months, like I say, maybe a whole lifetime without one conversation because you extended it, because you couldn't let certain things go until another time. You're going to suffer. Yeah, that relationship's going to suffer. Everybody's human, even good people. If they're in any of those 3 states, they may say something reckless just because they may not, people are human. And when our humanity, our human weakness is shown the most when we are not in the right state because of a chemical imbalance or because of an emotional state that, and those 3 parameters pretty much, if we're tired, we haven't got the proper rest, our body isn't operating properly, our mind isn't coherent. And if you're hungry, you may need certain nutrients in your body to get your cells in alignment. And if you're over and emotional, you're in a psychotic state. I hate to say that, but it's true. And that's reasonable. Come on. So if you can remember those 3 things, if you can avoid extending conversations on those 3 things, you're going to be better off for it. The relationships in your life are going to be better off for it. Now, as always, I always try to make the statement that there are exceptions to every rule. So, there's going to be some cases where you may not be able to avoid it. But when you can avoid it, avoid it. This is wisdom. What I'm sharing with you from personal life experience and from what I've seen in other people's lives, if you can avoid extending conversations based on those 3 parameters, you're going to live a better quality life. All right? So remember those 3 things. Do not avoid a conversation. Do not extend a conversation when someone is tired, when someone is hungry, or when someone is over emotional. If you can avoid extending a conversation based on those 3 things, you're going to be better off for it. All right? Stay inspired.